what to do if the seller wants to get out of the contract, and how to actually save the deal, and exactly what you need to do for wholesaling success. What is up, guys? Zach in here, and welcome to day 21 of the 30-day wholesaling challenge. And today is all about what to do if the seller wants to get out of the contract and out of the deal. This is a very concerning thing. We got to learn exactly what to do. And honestly, if you know what to do the right way, you can actually avoid the seller ever wanting to get out of the deal. And if you're ever in the situation, what you can do step by step. But before we break it down, do me a favor, make sure you smash the like button, subscribe, and let's get into it. So imagine this. You get the very, very scary call that the seller wants to get out of the deal. Most of the time, this can be avoided by just doing the right precautions and the right steps that we're going to talk about today. But really, in wholesaling real estate, when the seller wants to get out of the contract, it's usually due to three main things. Reason number one, the seller has concerns. Usually these concerns weren't addressed and they're not feeling comfortable in the deal. This is something like them not knowing if you're legit. Maybe a neighbor said, I don't know about this guy. You should go with a legit realtor. I don't know about this per se. This guy seems sketchy, or the title company hasn't called me. Something's up. I just got to get out of this. And they make an instant decision to get out of the contract. Now, number two is usually price. So this is kind of the greed complex. Usually other wholesalers give an offer to the seller, or another realtor gives an offer that how much they can list it for, and the seller gets greedy. This does happen. So that's the price issue. Number three, them genuinely wanting to stay in the property, not selling it, and for them not to sell it anymore. This does happen. So let's break down exactly what to do in all three of the situations. Now, situation one, the seller has their concerns. First and foremost, to avoid this to ever happen for you, make sure that the seller feels comfortable with you. This seems pretty self-explanatory, but it's 100% true. My big key here is once you get the property under contract, make sure you let the seller know that the title company is going to reach out to you and they're going to give you information. A lot of times when you're a young wholesaler, like me when I was 17, 18, 19 years old, yeah, I was pretty young, and I wanted to make sure the title company called the seller so they knew that I was legit and this 19-year-old was actually a legit person buying the property. Without the title company, my credibility would have not been as good. And so you got to make sure and call the title person right when you get the contract. Hey, I'm sending you over the contract. I'm sending you over the seller's information, and please give them a call as soon as possible so they feel comfortable so we can get this deal done. You got to let your title people know if you do not reach out to them, they might want to get out of the deal because they don't think this is legit, and you got to let them know you're a legit professional title company. On top of that too, they might have concerns if you constantly lie or try to get a price reduction, so don't do those things. But for 99% of the time, if you follow up and call the seller once to twice a week, just following up with them, hey, just checking in, making sure the move's going good or seeing how everything's going with the deal, and just genuinely caring about them, you're not going to have a problem. Some sellers, if you just go ghost on them for a month straight, they're going to think, I just thought we weren't buying the property anymore. You weren't going to buy it. I'm not selling it anymore. You have to have the title company constantly follow up, and then you constantly follow up. Number two, what if the greed complex comes in, the price? And unfortunately, this is probably where most of the time the seller wants to back out. And this usually happens when the seller calls you or you call the seller following up and they say, I got to get out of the contract. The seller usually never tells you why they want to get out of the contract. They give you some stupid excuse, or they tell you everything outside of they just want more money because it makes them sound greedy and terrible, which it actually kind of is what they're doing. They agree to a price. Now they want to get rid of that. You just have to call them and see why they want to get out of the contract. Usually they're going to say, well, you weren't open to me. I want more money, or they'll tell you any excuse out of the book. But really all you have to do is just say, hey, why don't I just meet you at the property? We can kind of have a conversation here and see what's going on. And they usually say yes, and you can probably just talk to them about their concerns. Usually it's about money. And most of the time it's another wholesaler who offered them $5,000 or $6,000 more. And then that wholesaler coaches the seller on what to tell me to get out of the contract. Oh, you go tell them that you want out. You don't like the way you're being handled and you are getting out of the contract. Guys, as someone that's done thousands of wholesaling real estate deals, you will not be shocked. Sellers will go ghost on you and want to get out of the contract for as little as $3,000 or $4,000. Remember, that's a lot of money to them. So do not go out here and not understand their concerns. And heck, sometimes the seller might be like, hey, price is everything to me and I need more money for the property. That's it. And heck, if you're going to make $15,000 and they want an extra $5,000 or they walk, I would just give it to them. Take it out of your assignment fee. You will make $10,000, but it's better than zero, and always do the right thing. Number three 3 here, the seller sometimes just genuinely wants to get out of the contract. This has happened very rare, but it does happen, where the seller decides not to sell the property anymore. Maybe they go outside and try to buy a house and they get sticker shock of how expensive things are, the interest rates are crazy, and the cost of a mortgage, and heck, they actually can't afford to move to California or New York City anymore, and they decided that they have no other options. You're not going to be here to force them to get rid of the property and for them to be on the streets. Don't do that. But really, all you have to do is just gauge exactly if they're telling the truth or not and make your decision from that. If usually it's an elderly seller or somebody that really has nowhere else to go, I just get out of the contract from that. But really, you can tell pretty easily if they're lying or not, and that's what I would do. We're not here to go buy someone's house or force someone to close on a deal that they have literally them and their family nowhere else to go. That's not the right thing to do. And if you are going to actually get out of the contract, or let's say, for example, you have a deal and it's just locked up for too high, you renegotiate, it doesn't work, and you just got to get out of the contract, all you have to do is give written notice to the title company and to the seller that you're getting out of the contract due to your inspection period. This can be an email or a letter. I prefer you just emailing or texting the seller that you're getting out of it and letting the title company know. And that's going to be the best way to get out of a contract if you have to go to that point. But overall, what I can tell you here is just don't panic. Don't panic when the seller says they want to get out of the contract. Calmly understand why they're looking to get out of the contract and what you can do to help save the deal. I'm not a big fan here of filing affidavit of memorandums on properties and forcing people to go close with me. Yes, it does make sense sometimes that the seller's being greedy and they're not agreeing to your transaction, but it's really on a case-by-case basis to do it. Do not put memorandums on properties to properties you actually can't afford to buy yourself. That's a one-way ticket for a disaster. But honestly, a lot of these situations you can avoid just straight up by doing the right thing, following up with your sellers every single week, and having your title company follow up. Heck, you might ask yourself, how do I have my title company follow up? How do I force them? Call the closing agent and tell them that they need to follow up with this seller once to twice a week. If you don't, they are probably going to get out of the deal. Have them ask about their banking information, setting up closing dates, and all that other great things. And they will think that, oh, this is a legit transaction. This is good. If you ghost a seller out here, it's never going to work. And sometimes sellers want to get out of the contract. And one way they do it is just by going MIA and ghost on you. And they just don't want to talk to you at all anymore. And the best way to reach back to that seller is just by calling them on a different phone number. So either you got your personal cell you can call them off of, maybe you call them on a call rail number, maybe you get a new Google Voice number and call them from a different phone. And usually if a seller is screening your calls and trying to ignore your phone number, call from a different phone number and you're going to be shocked they'll actually answer that. Heck, another good thing you can do too is just knock on the person's door. If a seller's going ghost on you and you see their car at the property, say, hey, I was in the neighborhood just saying hi. I wasn't be able to call you. I was just making sure you're okay and everything's okay. Knock on the person's door. I'm telling you, sometimes you have to do those things to get the deal done. And it kind of sucks in wholesaling to do, but it's necessary. It's something you need to do. Last but not least, if they are ghosting you, I would recommend you try DMing them on Facebook. That's a last resort, but it is an option to do. So overall, guys, if the seller's trying to get out of the deal, do not panic, do not fret. Understand the top 3 reasons why. Try to address it. Try to address the seller's concerns and help them out. And let them know at the end, hey, Mr. Seller, I'm still looking to close this. I'm ready to go. Me and my partner, when's the date we can go? Be very forceful with them and letting them know that you and your partner have all the means to close on the property. We're just waiting. And if you have a concern, let us know and we can go through with it. With price, if it's not going to be a price that works for me, I stay in very firm with it. But really, I only let the seller out usually, or I get out of it really easily with them, only if they have no other options and they're staying in the property. If not, I stay firm and I try to get the deal done. So guys, if you got any value from this video, do me a favor, make sure you smash the like button, subscribe. If you want to learn more about exactly the methods I've been talking about today, just make sure you go to my free real estate wholesaling course, freewholesaling.com, and I'll see you for day 22 of the 30-day wholesaling challenge. This is Zach signing out. Have a blessed one.